Katherine Kallergis, we're going to go to you with story number 5. This is a piece she wrote in The Real Deal. I'll read you the headline. I'll read you the first couple graphs, and I want you to comment. And the headline is, South Florida brokers predict a survival of the fittest following the NAR settlement. NAR is the National Association of Realtors. Anybody doesn't know, they got sued. The NAR, as well as a bunch of different big brokerages, they got sued because the way, and this is layman's terms, the way it works is if you get a real estate license, you go in and you join a club. Club is called the Realtors Club. And in joining it, in Miami, it's like $1,000 a year. You get to play on this database, which is called a multiple listing service. So if you're a golfer, you join a country club so you can play the golf course. If you're a sailor, you join a sailing club so you can dock your boat. And if you were somebody with a real estate license, you join the Realtor Club so you get to use this MLS, this database. And what the MLS does is it gives anybody who puts something in there the ability to market their information everywhere. Zillow taps into it, Realtor.com taps into it, everybody else taps into it. But the rule is, or it was before this settlement came out as a result of the lawsuit, is anything that's offered in there, you have to offer a commission to the other side of the deal. Now, as part of this proposed settlement that could go into effect in July, assuming a judge signs off on it after a lawsuit, you can put something in the multiple listing service, the database, and you don't have to pay a commission to the other members of the club, which is the Realtor Association. So what does that mean in basic terms? That means before, many realtors, in order to take a listing to sell your home, would offer 6%. They would keep 3% on the sell side, and they'd offer 3% on the buy side. Come July, if the judge proves it, you only have to offer 3%, and that's to the person with the listing. And it might not even be 3%. There might be a competition for the listing, and therefore the commission could be even less. So this means that people could effectively spend less money in doing a real estate transaction. So that's the background. Let me get back in your story, Katherine. Headline, South Florida brokers predict the survival of the fittest following NAR settlement. Subhead, broker revenues will likely drop. The question is how much? And here we go. Craig Signicki recognized the value of shaking things up. Some disruptors make a lot of sense for me, like Uber, he said. But the South Florida brokerage chief is scratching his head in response to the National Association of Realtors' proposed settlement of the class action lawsuit filed by a group of home sellers in Missouri. Announced last month under the $418 million settlement, the industry trade group with nearly 1.5 million members is barring listing agents from offering compensation to buyer's agents through the MLS or the multiple listing service. In other words, the entry field will disappear in the MLS, but a buyer's agent can still pick up the phone and call the seller's agent, find out what the commission would be. And for disclosure, I have a real estate license. I've been licensed since 1995. I work on the buy side. I've always worked on the buy side. I don't like to take a listing. Sellers can be a pain in the ass. They think they got gold when in reality they got like copper. So I work on the buy side. So this for me is good news. So I just wanted to put that out there. Katherine, why don't you give us some more details? Survival of the fittest. It sounds like it's going to be brass knuckles cage match going on in the real estate industry, where we have 62,000 realtors in the Miami Association of Realtors, based on what I read recently.
Yeah, I mean, I think that it just kind of, the other headline I was toying with was something like confusion themed, because a lot of people I spoke to were either very confused about what this meant or said all they are hearing is questions and trying to kind of clear it up and that kind of thing. It is like the rule change is kind of, I mean, you could still offer buyer's compensation. You just can't put it in the MLS. So I think it like makes everything a little bit more fragmented. It kind of allows for like other you can put the compensation on your website. Do you know what I mean? Like there's other ways to get it. I think that there will be fewer. I think some agents will leave the industry because those will be the agents who don't really add anything. Maybe it's like the person who has their license on the side or, something like that.
Yep.
But any brokerage that I'm curious what you think about it, because anyone who focuses on the buy side, it does kind of change the conversation a bit, doesn't it?
Oh, no. This is fantastic news. So let me lay it out there. And I've been a broker since 2006. In Florida, I've been licensed since 1995. Now the question is, the person you're working with, do they know their head from their ass? And many of them do not. They simply don't. And they didn't have to, because under the old rule, you can meet somebody in a bar, you can meet them at church, you can meet them at a flea market, and they want to go see a property. You go, you show them a property, you got a license, and lo and behold, if that person buys or rents the place, you're getting a commission. You don't have to do anything. You don't have to know anything. But when you work with people who are a little bit more, let's say, investor oriented, meaning they want to return on their money, they're not speculating that Miami's the gateway to Latin America, and prices only go up, it's a little bit different type of story. So on my side, I would typically sign people to a fiduciary, a buy-side agreement. So my role is to try to work on their behalf to get the best deal. So, this will be survival of the fittest. And what I will tell you is the industry is based on sell side. It's based on blowing smoke up everybody's ass, telling them how great it is. It's not based on actually running the numbers. We're in April and there's going to be a halving of the Bitcoin and how much you get back in return. There's going to be a halving of the real estate industry from what I can see, because many people simply aren't equipped to go in there and work on the buy side. They're just used to, being a tour agent, if you will.
Yeah. But how do you kind of account for all of the people who are purchasing property and that's kind of the only time in their lives they're doing it and they don't understand it? And do you know what I mean?
What's so significant about this settlement, if it's approved by the judge and goes into effect in July, is that this will be nationwide. Previously, depending on what state you went through, there were different rules. Now, somebody was telling me that one state, in order to show a property as a buy-side agent, you actually had to have a signed brokerage agreement, and you'd have to send it to the listing agent before the listing agent would open a door for you. In Miami and in Florida, it doesn't work that way. You basically just show up, you let them know what your name is, and everybody kind of works something. So we're actually going to get some real structure to the program. And I think where I'm going with this is, now that it's nationwide, any buyer, it doesn't matter if you're in Ohio, you're in the state of Washington, you're in Washington, D.C., or you're in Florida, we're all playing by the same rules. And this, I think, is going to bring a lot of clarity. Where people come from out of state coming to Florida, they would simply be confused. Now it's going to kind of be across the board, at least in theory.
Yeah. Yeah, I definitely do see, though, a thinning of the herd.
Mr. Fakler, previous podcast, you said that you think, based on your research skills, you wouldn't use a realtor to go and buy and lease a place. Are you still of that opinion?
Yeah, I still haven't changed my mind. I still would, I'm a little different than the average buyer, I think, because of my journalism background and research. So I know, databases and things, places to look. I would probably try to use that to my advantage in this situation.
And Mr. Gruss, you said previously that you pay the 6% commission, 3 to the buy side, 3 to the sell side, because you want to move that property. You're not worried about the nickel and diamond. You simply want that property gone, because markets change. And once they change, it takes a lot to bring them back. So you still have that opinion?
I mean, yeah, if I'm a seller, I want to bring buyers. So yeah, I'll pay the 3% to bring the buyers. What comes to mind is, I remember when home builders during the Great Recession were paying realtors 10% commissions to bring buyers. So, I mean, in a tough market, you want people to bring buyers.
For what it's worth, Miami Realtor Association has somewhere in the ballpark of 62,000 members. I would tell you the dues are about $1,000 a year. You do the math. So you can see if we see a downturn in the number of people in the real estate industry, its wide reaching effects is what could be coming.